Hello, sinners, and hail Sappho. It's your hostess with the mostest Narcissa DeVille, and what an exciting week this has been. This is going to be 2 videos for the price of 1. This video is technically going to be coming up first, but you are going to see this makeup job, such as it is, in the video on Thursday, so stay tuned for that. But this video was kind of unexpected because we got a unexpected drop of the 9th episode of season 2 of Helluva Boss. Yay! I am so excited, you guys. Okay, this was like totally unexpected. I did not know this was coming. I was actually just thinking like, oh my gosh, when do you think we're gonna get the 9th episode, which was the apology tour episode? I was really excited about this. I've been excited about all of these episodes, but I was especially excited for this one because, you know, I love Verosika Mayday. So I was so excited that this was going to be a Verosika heavy episode. So let us get into it because I have a lot of thoughts. I just want to start off by saying this, no spoilers, but I loved this episode so much. Like, I know that one of my complaints in the last episode was like these 2 characters, or 2 sets of characters in the Cherubs and the Dorks agents that I really don't care for, like made this comeback. I really didn't think it was necessary. Like, I really didn't want to sue them. So I like really felt like that cut down that episode a lot. I felt like the emotional resonance was cut down in that episode. Whereas I think in this episode, it really just ramped back up so much better. I thought this was so brilliantly handled. This episode kind of starts off with Blitz and Stolas are at Stolas's palace. He's kind of hanging by the pool, reading a book, and Blitz is like, you know, trying to kind of pick up where they left off. He's kind of trying to pretend like nothing happened with how, you know, episode 8 ended, which I think is a very interesting choice story-wise, to kind of like pretend like that didn't happen. I think if you watch these episodes all the way through, like all sort of timeline wise, maybe that would make more sense. But it was kind of like, to me, a weird decision to kind of be like, let's pretend that didn't happen. We're still going to go back to normal, status quo unchanged, as it were, which I guess works for some shows. You know, if you're The Simpsons, the status quo never changes. But for a show like this, obviously big status quo changes just kind of have to happen naturally. So I was kind of like, not sure at first, but I was really excited. I loved the kind of like, Stolas is just not having it. He is not going to back down. He's said how he feels. You know, Blitz has made it clear that he's just not ready for that, and so he's being very stubborn, you know, and there is this emotional arc that he's having to go on throughout this episode, and really just in general, that I think is long overdue. And I don't know what it is. I just really loved this episode. I loved how they did it. I thought it was so impactful to have this thing where they're having this argument and Stolas is like, look, you know, I've made my position clear. And Blitz just really has this idea that Stolas must have this view of him because he has this view of himself. And I think that becomes very clear throughout the episode, but especially like even in the beginning, it's very clear that like he's got this view of himself, and so he is very much projecting that onto Stolas because, hey, he's a prince, so of course he's going to have this view of me, because why wouldn't he? And it's like, well, that's not how he sees you, and it's so heartbreaking, but I think it's done so well, and it's like so emotionally resonant in a way that I felt like the last episode wasn't, because they were trying to have too many things at once. I feel like by trying to do the whole Dorks and Cherubs timeline, but trying to do that whole storyline, which is more slapsticky, I think it kind of cuts down the seriousness. Whereas I do think that the impetus of like the apology tour was Blitz learning that every year Verosika does a fuck Blitzo party where she's like, here is all of your exes in one place, and it's a lot of them, spoiler alert, and they all hate you because they were all broken-hearted because of you. And, you know, Verosika clearly was the most brokenhearted. And so, and we also get to see, like, what exactly happened there. Like, what was, you know, we kind of had an idea of, like, him ditching her and all of that and running 3 rings to Wrath to get horse riding lessons. But we don't know, like, what exactly happened there, like why he did that. There's so much information that the one episode that we originally saw Verosika in, we didn't get to appreciate that whole story. And so I like that we now have this further storyline. And I think it's very, like I said, it's very impactful. I think it's weirdly, whereas I feel like the slapsticky nature of the last episode undercut the story, I think even though there are elements that are like slapsticky-esque to the whole fuck Blitzo party, I feel like it just resonates more powerfully. It just, you feel that like, yes, of course, they're cutting up a cake that looks like him. They're stabbing effigies to him. It's a very like over dramatized thing, but at the same time, you also get to have that emotional resonance of like seeing people crying because it like literally broke their heart, and Verosika getting to have this heart to heart with Blitz and say, look, this is what happened. You fucked me up here. You embarrassed me by, I made myself vulnerable and said I love you, and you just take the fuck off. And, you know, Blitz really has this moment where he is like being defensive about it and trying to act like it doesn't bother him and he doesn't care. But then he sees kind of this very real effect that he has had on people. And Verosika gets to call him out and be like, no, this is bullshit. The way you treat people is bullshit. This is not okay. And you need to be able to recognize that. It just, I don't know, it feels mature, but it also feels like it makes sense for the character. It doesn't feel, you know, I know one of the things that people have accused this show of is that it feels, certain things feel rushed. They don't feel earned. Blitz and Fizz finally having their, you know, heart to heart and talk about what happened to them. Some people feel like that wasn't necessarily earned. And what's interesting is I do feel like the whole Crimson backdrop and like shootout and all of that, that could be a scene where it could have the potential to distract from like the emotional heart of the story. And I do feel like this show kind of seems to do that a lot, but I don't know what it is. I feel like the, you know, again, with the Crimson shootout, it works. With the all of the demons at the fuck Blitzo party, that works. I don't know what it is, and maybe it is just really my bias against the Dorks agents and the cherubs that I just don't feel like that works. But there's just something that I can't quite enumerate that for me, it just works. It resonates emotionally. I feel like it's not trying to necessarily be slapsticky. It's just kind of pointing out, it's like an over-dramatized view of people's very real feelings. And Stolas even says in the episode, like, do you understand how much people have to care to do something as stupid as creating this party every single year? Like, you know, the line between love and hate is so blurred. And in, you know, just in life, naturally, like, you know, there is just this kind of blurred line a lot of times where a lot of things that, you know, you can say you hate, you devote the same amount of energy to them as things that you love. There are a lot of people who devote a lot of time to things that they claim to hate. I mean, Jesus, J.K. Rowling devotes a lot of time to being obsessed with trans people. So, like, I don't know what to tell you there, but that is something you may want to look into. There are a lot of people who are full of hate in a lot of different directions, who spend a lot of time being obsessed with the things that they hate. And I feel like that energy could be better spent talking about things that you love. That's a whole other thing, but that's just like, I think that's kind of the message of the video, of the movie, if I think that could be one of the messages of this episode. If anything, it's worthwhile to spend time on things that you love and enjoy versus spending all this time talking about things that you hate. And I know hate resonates with people. Let's face it, the internet has been kind of modified to become a hate machine. Like, we can all acknowledge that hate and anger and frustration and extreme views get more attention. If I were to say this is a terrible fucking episode, the show sucks, the writers suck, this sucks, I'd probably get more attention than me just saying, I really like this episode. I think it's well done. I think it's interesting. I think it resonates emotionally. I think this is a more solid foundation of where it can go in the future. And yeah, it is heartbreaking to see Blitz kind of really understanding now the full weight of how he's made other people feel. And I don't think it's necessarily something he wasn't aware of, but I think it was something that until Stolas he didn't have to care about, because it was really about avoiding his own feelings. That's always been the case. He's projecting in such a huge way onto Stolas because he's afraid that if he acknowledges his own feelings, then he will have to deal with that. And that can be hard for people. Admittedly, this is an emotionally traumatized character. He had an abusive father. Like, there's no getting around that. He was in a situation with the circus that was not ideal. He played second fiddle to Fizz his entire life. And so, of course, there was that animosity between them, even though I think they were friends for many years. I would like to think, and this is my headcanon, I don't think that Fizz and Blitz ever dated, but I do believe, in my heart of hearts, I do believe that Fizz, up until this year, may have attended the fuck Blitz parties, because I think he and Verosika very much would have bonded over that. And to be honest with you, when she wasn't in rehab, I bet Barbie was there too, because I think that all three of them had a lot to bond over in their mutual hatred of Blitz, and I kind of wish we did get to see that. I think that would be a lot of fun. And don't get me wrong, I loved seeing Stolas getting to have his moment and singing his song, with Verosika actually playing backup, and Tex. I didn't know Tex was going to sing in this. I thought that was kind of cute. I love that whole moment. I love that song. It's kind of funny because one of my critiques in the previous episode was that I felt like the song was like too musically, and one of the things that I don't like is like a musical. You know, I don't like when they sing about their feelings and, you know, whatever. I don't know why. That drives me up the wall. But this one, you know, it feels kind of like a pop musical, and I enjoyed that. I think it tells how Stolas is feeling and tells his emotions without feeling like you're shoving it down our throats in like a musical way. It just feels like a pop song. You could picture Verosika Mayday singing this song, or you could picture Britney Spears singing this song. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what I enjoy in a musical. I don't want it to feel like a musical. I want it to feel like I could turn on the radio and listen to this song at any time. And that's what I felt with this. And I have to say, I just think everything about this was just so well done. I loved even the fact that it was kind of like a music video at a concert. I think was really fun. I think getting to see Stolas's emotions and how he's reacting to being rejected by Blitz over and over and over again, and kind of having to come to terms with that. And then, you know, he gets very drunk and Blitz confronts him, and there's that whole thing where they have to, you know, Blitz is kind of acknowledging how he's made Stolas feel, and it's such a cute moment where Stolas is like leaning on him and his little face is all squished. I don't know why. I just think that's so cute in animation when someone's got the little scrunchy face. It's so cute to me. So I love that. And then Stolas drunk is always kind of a little bit adorable. And then, you know, the moment where that other demon asks him out and he's like, okay, you know, you want to dance with me? And they kiss, and it's like, you know, it's sad for Blitz, but I also think it's something that Stolas needed. And like, whether or not they end up together in the end, I do feel like this is kind of like that storyline that is a tale as old as time of like, will they, won't they? And of course they're going to get together in the end. Every show in the history of shows has done this trope at this point, so it's not really news to any of us. At the same time, even if they didn't get together in the end, like, you know what? I don't know. But anyway, I have such mixed feelings about it because I do love them as a couple. I love the idea of them. But at the same time, I don't know, part of me, I don't know if I'd be that upset about it. I feel like, you know, Stolas deserves that opportunity to see someone else and see what's out there and not have to constantly, obviously he loves Blitz and that is like this real thing for him. And it was because of Blitz that he was able to divorce his wife and realize like how miserable he was. I want to see Stolas happy. That's my thing. So I want to see Blitz happy too, but like he's gonna have to do a lot of work for that. And I feel like Stolas is kind of already there. He knows what he wants and Blitz isn't ready to give him that. So there's going to have to be that back and forth. There's going to have to be that sort of coming to terms with all of that, basically, for Blitz. But I like seeing Stolas get to be happy and get to experience these things. There is a good chance that it's funny because when I saw that demon come up to him, I did have that kind of like knee jerk, like, I wonder if this guy's just trying to get with him because he's a prince. Like, I wonder if he's going to use him. So I don't know if that's going to come up, but that was kind of like my knee jerk reaction. I like what Verosika says to Blitz especially, which is like, you need to be able to be happy for him. I think if you're going to grow and change anything and your apologies are going to mean anything, you have to be able to just be happy for Stolas. You have to be able to just say, you know what? If it's meant to be, you will come back. If not, I'm happy for you. And I think that's kind of like the turning point where he was able to say, oh, you know what? Fuck, like, you're right. And I really like that. I again, it's like there's an emotional resonance here. It's not just simply saying, basically, you pout and get mad or whatever and get what you want. He is having to recognize, like, what he is doing. And it's not going to be just as simple as, like, apologizing. And I do feel like I have seen some reviews already where people are like, oh, they're ruining Blitz and Stolas, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I really do feel like you cannot win if you're this show with some people, because like some people are going to say the Blitz and Fizz storyline ended too easily, like Fizz forgave him too easily, and other people are just going to say, oh, Stolas and Blitz are taking too long and Stolas is seeing this other guy now, so what's that going to mean? And it's like, you just can't win. It's like, no matter what you do, people are not going to like that. And it's like, I don't know, man. I think you need to just enjoy something. Not everything has to be an opinion. I say making an opinion, but I really liked the episode. I really thought this was exciting. And this is kind of what I was talking about, is like, I know that not every episode is going to be to my taste, but that doesn't mean that other episodes aren't going to be amazing. And I knew this episode was going to be, you know, when I watched it, I was very excited still. I was proven correct in that. This is an amazing episode. I cannot wait to see what comes next. I know that we're going to have a little bit more of a wait this coming time around. I think the next episode is supposed to be October-ish, because I think there's only like 3 more episodes at this point. I think Sinmas is episode 13, and I think that's the last one. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's only 12, so maybe there's only 2. 10, 11, 12. Oh, that's 3. Yes, I was right. I just can't count. So I think there's like 3-ish more episodes, 3 or 4. So, and I think the next one is going to be the Ghost Fuckers episode, which I am looking forward to because that's going to be John Waters. I cannot wait. I love when we get to see new sins. I hope we get to see B more. Hopefully in Sinmas we'll get to see Beelzebub more. Oh, by the way, one of the things I did not know until watching this episode, and I was kind of shocked by, and I don't know how I didn't clock it the first time, or the first like dozen times I watched it, but we got during Blitz's apology tour, we got to see him apologize to Martha, who was the Southern Mother in episode 1 of the series, who he shoots, and we get to see, I learned at the end of the episode that Jinx Monsoon was who played her, I guess from the beginning. I didn't recognize that. I knew she was in the Aussies episode as the imp, and I knew she was in Queen Bee episode as one of the Hellhounds, that like bitchy one, but I didn't realize that she was playing the Southern mom in Martha. I don't know why. I didn't just did not clock that at all. So I was so gagged. I was like, oh my God, Jinx Monsoon. Because my mother said it. She's like, who is Martha? And I was like, what? I was like, oh, I think that's the Southern mom character. And I was like, that was Jinx? Was that always Jinx? Because I don't remember, like, and I looked on IMDb to see what other characters she played. And maybe I just didn't know who Martha was and it didn't, like, click in my brain. So I was just like, oh my God, I didn't realize the whole time that was her. That's amazing. So she's been on board since, like, episode 1. I love that for her. I love seeing Jinx have like all the success that she's having. You know, I finally watched my first episode of Doctor Who because of Jinx, which was really, it was such a great episode. I personally don't think the show's for me. You know, I I don't know, the whole super hulock thing I think kind of ruined it for me a little bit, but which I am not going to get into that. I was actually going to make a video about that because somebody called Good Omens What We Do in the Shadows and Our Flag Means Death the like new super hulock, and I was like super offended by that just because of the nightmare that whole thing was on Tumblr, and I don't think they have nearly I don't think it's the same. I really don't, because I don't think the internet is the same as it was in that time, and a lot of us were teenagers at that time. I feel like a lot of the people who enjoy Good Omens especially, and I don't know about What We Do in the Shadows because I've never watched it, or Flag Means Death. People tell me I should watch both of those. I'm not gonna anytime soon, sorry. But I feel like most of the people, at least with Good Omens, are probably in their 20s or 30s anyway. I don't know how many younger people are watching that show in particular. So I do kind of feel like in that respect, it's not the same. Like, everyone who was watching watching Supernatural, Doctor Who, and Sherlock during that era were teenagers, and now we're all in our 30s. So I think we're a little more chill, not much, just a little. And, you know, gift wars really aren't a thing anymore, I don't feel like. So I don't know. But anyway, that is a whole other thing, quite frankly. Like, that is its own video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment down below. Tell me what your favorite part of this episode was. What episodes you're looking forward to in the coming episode arc that we kind of already know about. You can also become a member of my Patreon. That's patreon.com/narcissistiville. You can become a member of this channel. There are 2 tiers, the R side tier and the ineffable tier. The R side tier does get early access to videos and some behind the scenes stuff. I'm working on more of those, just more videos in general. I love making these videos, so I'm just gonna keep doing them. And you can also find a lot of links in the description below. I do have a video that will be coming out on Thursday of this makeup look and kind of some decisions with this makeup, and just in general, like some other things that I'm going to be talking about. I'm not going to talk about them here because they are their own video, but I'm very excited for that video. I might do it Tuesday. I was going to do it on Thursday, but I might just do it Tuesday because I feel like doing 2 videos a week is like, it kind of cannibalizes each other. I don't know what it is, but anyway. And yeah, until next time, stay devilish and see you next Tuesday. Why did I whisper that? What even is, I'm getting such a headache. I have been filming at this point for, I want to say 2 hours at least. So I have a freaking headache. I need to get out of here. I'm so sorry. I've had so much fun. I love this. I'm losing my voice. I need to go.